We're doing something a little different this time. Today is the 21st night of September. It has been 1,000 days since I started to learn how to play this beautiful baby right here. Her name is Haruko. I got her after saving up some money, and then I got very blessed by some good people in my life who helped me out with the rest of that money to then get her for me as a Christmas present. I don't want to say early or late. It was literally, I got her on Christmas. They surprised me, and it was super cool. I had wanted to learn how to play guitar for a little bit before that point, at least for like a couple of years. I got really inspired as one of my favorite bands, The Pillows. They did the soundtrack to my favorite anime, Fooly Cooly, which you absolutely should watch. It's 6 episodes. It will blow your mind. And the guitar is named after one of the show's main characters, Haruko, who brings the most chaos. But you know what? That's okay. The name just sounded cool and it worked out. I started playing, because I really wanted to pick up a new hobby. I've wanted to learn how to play guitar since I was very young. I was in like middle school, high school during the Guitar Hero Rock Band days. So for me, like having that kind of music was a big part of my life. Like those years is where I really figured out what I wanted to do, what kind of music that I liked, what I liked to play, blah, 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 right? But turns out learning how to play an instrument is really freaking hard and expensive and time consuming. I don't have another and. It's just a lot. I had no idea what I was signing up for, and I wanted to take this as an opportunity to kind of look back over these last 2.5, almost 3 years. I'm going to be saying 3 years throughout the whole video. It is what it is. When I first started, I didn't realize how difficult it would be, but B, how bad I was. Um, you hop into these things after playing these rhythm games and you think that you know a lot, you understand a lot. There is so much about technique, about the fundamentals, about just how to hold the instrument, right? Those games don't tell you any of that, right? Especially because the guitar is like, what, 1/3 the size of an actual guitar? So there was a whole lot of me just kind of figuring out, like, the bare minimum, right? I did have access to a old Xbox game called Rocksmith. Uh, I've totally been playing on my old Xbox. I still got it plugged in right there. So yeah, it's been a great experience using that game to kind of get my fundamentals up and really understand like the bare minimum, right? But even then, that kind of was a lot to take in, right? This wasn't the first time I've tried to learn how to play guitar, so I already had a couple of riffs in my head, things that I knew, but I didn't really know how to apply them. And sure, I could play them, but they were literally like the stupid easiest, like "Come as You Are," Nirvana, stupid easy, right? So yeah, I didn't really know a whole lot, but I was picking up a lot. There were a couple more riffs that I put into my like riff book or whatever you want to call it. But at the end of the first year, like I don't really feel like I did much. It just kind of I was still learning. But that second year was when it all clicked, right? That's when I realized, oh shit, I'm actually playing guitar, right? I feel like the first year, it was me trying to play guitar. But after that, I realized I am playing it, right? there's still a lot of intent, right? There's still a lot of me thinking about where to put my hands. Am I holding this properly? Am I pressing too hard? And, like, again, there is so much that goes into playing that if you're on the outside, like, you don't really notice it because the people that you see understand it so well. And for me, having that realization that it was starting to make sense felt amazing, to say the least, right? I actually, like, recognized I'm figuring it out. I'm learning how to play this instrument, albeit very slowly. Uh, it also settled in that the newbie gains were over. I no longer could pick things up super quick. Anything that I did was less of a, oh my god, here's how to do this, and more of a, oh my god, why can't I do this correctly, right? Actually trying to nail it, not in the way of just hitting the notes, but nailing it in a way that's, hey, I am playing it the way it's supposed to sound. And then trying to, like, put all of that into, like, a whole year is really hard, right? It's like the sophomore situation where you have an idea of what's going on, like what you're doing, but that's all you have is an idea. There's very little execution. And that's what brings me into this most recent year, right? I'll admit, I don't play or practice as much as I should be anymore. Uh, I'm in my 30s. I got a 9 to 5. Like, life happens, and there are times where I have just had days where I haven't been able to practice. I don't like it, but that's life, right? I'm I have made sure that guitar has been a part of my life, right? Not just a hobby, but an actual part of my life. I still don't like to tell people that I play because I feel like it gives them an expectation that I'm good. I'm not. I still feel like I'm in, like, almost not training wheels anymore. But if you ask me to, like, let go of the bike and just ride, like, I don't feel confident enough in that. I know how to play the F minor pentatonic scale. If you know, you know. I know my cowboy chords. If you know, you know. And I have a couple of linear exercises that I do to keep my fingers sharp. But, if you ask me to play a full song, I couldn't really do it, right? I can play a couple of riffs really well. But once it gets to, like, a transition, then You know what? I'm gonna take that back. Let me give myself some credit. There are a couple of songs that I have figured out, and it's because their rhythm section is, I don't want to say stupid simple, but simple enough to where it's easy to play. Shout out to Linkin Park. Oh my god, those songs sound way more complicated than they are, and I freaking love the band. Uh, so that's been fun to play. I've also realized I think I'm more of a rhythm guitarist than a lead guitarist, so that's fun. Actually, just kind of keeping the groove has been nice. I do wish I knew a little bit more of the, like, fancy riffs and diddly type stuff, but I'm not too worried about it. You know, 1,000 days is a major milestone. Like, major milestone. There was literally a comma when I asked myself how many days has it been. And while it's not 3 years specifically, it's starting to feel more real. And I have a lot that I still need to learn, that I still want to learn. And I'm learning it. It just takes time. But I'm gonna keep going, you know? This was a little bit different than what I like to do. I did have some big fancy idea where I wanted to have, like, high effort, but kind of like this better. If you stuck around for all this, appreciate you. Have a good one. I was going to throw that. I did not throw it. I don't throw my stuff. Don't throw your stuff.